What's good, everybody? Pete here, Spawn Fly Fishing. Today, we're going to be focused on a new UV Nightmare dub. And this is fresh from Spawn Simi Seal. You need this dub. What's good, everyone? As you can see in the vise today, we have from Ahrex the SA280. This happens to be a size 8. And what we're going to tie today is, well, maybe a fly of your dreams. Although, I'll let you know, we're going to tie that in a nightmare style. So if you guys have been fans and followers of this page, you know that we fish and tie a lot of nightmare styled or patterned flies. What does that mean? It means red, black, and white. So first thing I'm going to do is let you know we are not tying just a basic leech today. We are tying a nightmare version of the peach bum. So this will have no peach in it, but it will have everything scary for the fish. We're going to start with a little bit of a micro strip rabbit here in black. So we're just going to tie this on, and eventually this fly is going to sit hook point up. So if you notice, I'm tying that rabbit strip down so that the fur is coming off the back of that strip, and it will sit properly once we have this oriented hook point up. And all this is just to get you ready for something I'm really excited to show you guys. New dubbing, just launched. This is the Nightmare dub from Spawn Fly Fish. So, full name, UV Nightmare Spawn Simi Seal. It is loaded with all the goodness that makes a nightmare pattern a nightmare, and it also is going to give you the added bonus of some UV quality in there. Everybody's going to see this thing once it's in the water. So at this point, I'm just going to create a little thread loop here, and we are going to put some of that Nightmare Simi to work. Nothing crazy. Closed off that loop on the shank side, and now I've got my little ladder, if you will, of Nightmare Simi Seal. I'll slip that right in like so. And as far as a quantity or how much of this Simi Seal, for this small little shank on this hook here, this 1.5 or 2 inches is going to be more than sufficient. Let's get that spun up. And of course we do have our brush here from Stonefo, and I'm just going to hit this very quickly, release any of those trapped fibers from spinning that loop, and nothing to it. At this point we're ready to wrap, but as we go we're going to be pinching those fibers and stroking all of that toward the back on each wrap. And then what we'll end up with is fly that the materials are moving in the right direction, so when we're stripping it, it has the proper movement. So as I wrap this, you can see all that goodness and coloration coming out of that Simi, and it is unbelievable. Really nice in the water, and the fish love it. And let's just tie off this little thread loop here, pop that tool out, and get my fingers out of the way. At this point I got 2 wraps to grab the thread, so I'll bring it all back now, get it out of my way, and make a clean little thread head or collar right there, and then trim out the remainder of that loop. Nothing to it. Grab a whip finish tool, let's put a couple finishes on there. And keep in mind, this is just the hook. This is the rear portion of our bum style fly. There we go, and trim that thread out. Alright, so now let's get back in there with the brush very quickly. In the process of wrapping a loop like we did, a lot of times you can get just a little bit of trapping going on in there. So once again, release those fibers. You can see I've got a couple up here at the front coming out over the hook eye. Does it matter? Nope, because we're going to cover all that, but just for good measure, we'll trim out that nasty stuff. Alright, a little bit of head cement here. This is some Loon hardhead clear, and we're just going to give it a kiss all the way, covering those thread wraps. Don't need to drown it by any means. This stuff will soak through all the way to your hook and coat all those thread wraps, keeping it strong. Key. Alright, so now I've got a Spawn micro jig shank in the 60°, and then on the bead here I'm working with a 5.5 millimeter, also known as 7/32 inches, and I'm just going to grab that into my hook. And again, at this point, when I put this shank in the vise, you can see properly oriented. Now this trailer hook is going to sit hook point up, and that's what we want. Alright, just to give this a little bit of solid action here on that bead, I don't want it moving around on me a lot. I'm just going to turn it over, and I've got some non-lead or lead-free 0.025 wire right here, and I'm going to put 7 wraps on there. And this is one of those deals, yes, we're on camera. When I'm not on camera, I don't even have that hook on here yet. I get the weight and all that solidified, and then I slip on the hook before I close the arm. So you guys do you, just a little tidbit of behind the scenes, if you will. So you can see how this is kind of in my way. If I just finished my wires and then slip it on, there'd be no issue. I like where this arm is lined up with the weighted wire wraps, so I'll just go ahead and trim that right there, round over my cut end as much as possible, and now get our thread started and we'll tie that arm down. So now this is where I was talking. If you waited, you can easily slip that on, not in the way. So for thread here, same thread, I don't think I mentioned, but this is some Uni-680 in red. And there we go. Trim out that tag. At this point, just going to work on getting some wraps on these weighted wires so that nothing's going to move, nothing's going to spin and throw that bead out of whack, which would cause this to not swim the right way. And if you're tying your own flies, by all means, you should be telling that fly what to do and all that good stuff. Alright, so we've got another loop coming into play here, and of course we're going to be utilizing just another pinch of that new UV Nightmare Spawn Simi seal, but then we're also going to throw in just a small section of Crosscut Red Rabbit at the very bottom of my loop to finish everything off. So let's open the loop with those 3 turns we just undid, throw in our Simi like so, and this is just slightly less than what we used on that hook. And then I'm going to come in with that piece of rabbit and just slip it into the bottom of my loop, followed by my spinning tool, and close everything. So at this point, I don't know if you guys can see this, I'll have to get rid of that leather somehow. Well, now's the time. I'm not going to wait. I just want to measure that the rabbit sticks out ever so slightly farther or at the same length as my Simi. And then I just trim that leather piece out. And there it is. How cute. Spin her up. At this point I wish we had the sound effect of a race scene. Dun, 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 something. But you guys can fill in the blanks if you want. There we go. A little brush out before we wrap again. And I absolutely love the way Simi seal and rabbit play together inside of a loop. Deadly. So for those of you who know the peach bum and have fished it for sea run cutthroat or any other trout species, it's an amazing fly, catches tons of fish, and this is going to do the same, but boy does it have some different applications. You can fish this in a lake, still water. If you don't understand or know yet the effects of the nightmare coloration pattern, by all means you owe it to yourself to find out and try some. And when your fishing friends can't figure out why you're catching so many more fish than they are, well, you either sell them some flies you tied up or send them our way, and we'll get them set up with the right stuff too. There we go. Pretty simple right there. We've got a nightmare bum tied up just for you guys. So let's whip finish this bad boy. I do have a little water here. I can coat that rabbit with a little moisture and it stays out of my way. So we all know the drill. Whip finish. There's the first one. And let's do the second one. Boom. Trim out that tag end of thread. Little kiss of Loon hardhead clear to finish this all up. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to go fishing. If you're watching this on Sunday, the rivers opened yesterday, and I'll give you 3 guesses of where we are right now, and the first 2 don't even count. So there we have it, folks. One little last bit of raw thread there that we're going to cover, and that is it. The Nightmare Bum, the leech you didn't know you really needed. And as far as what that Nightmare Simi can do on a regular leech, there it is. But if it's me, I'm going to have both of these versions in my box at all times and ready for success. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please hit that like, please hit that subscribe button, and we will see you guys on the water.